Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Sport is alive and well at Bond University.
It is the biggest day in the Bond University QAFLW calendar. Yes, I know what I just said. Everyone is here, so I call it bigger than Grand Final Day. This is Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. It is round 12 of the Bond University QAFLW. Second match of the day. All 8 teams, in fact all 16 teams, because it's first grade and reserve grade from the 8 QAFLW clubs, are here today at the South Pine Sporting Complex in Brendale. Wilston Grange got up over Yeronga in match 1. This is match 2, Coorparoo versus the University of Queensland. Very significant match on the table. If Coorparoo win this, the finals race for this competition this year is over. And we will have the same 4 teams locked in this year as we had last year for the first time in recorded QAFLW history. If UQ win, it blows it wide open and Coorparoo's finals place is in jeopardy. My name is Daniel Viles. With me is Sky Burgess. Sky, it's a midday game. This is about as summery as conditions are going to get today. How would you find playing in these conditions, and what do you think Coorparoo and UQ need to do to get the 4 points in this one?
Yeah, I think it's a near perfect day, to be honest. Like, yes, we could lose the wind as a player, but, you know, it's a nice sunny day, but it's not too hot, you know. So when it's a little bit cooler as a player, sometimes it's nice. The wind might play into effect for them, but today's tough. I think, like, I would like to see Coorparoo are really known for, like, their strength over the ball, so I really admire watching that. And then, you know, we've seen UQ go up against Southport last week, and they actually did some really good stuff, although the score didn't reflect it. They did the basics well, which just, you know, when you're going red alert one-on-one to a player, like, it really just, when you go back to basics, it took out all the special stuff Southport were trying to do. So if they can play that kind of game today, it'll be a good game. But I think Coorparoo might just be a little bit too strong over the ball.
Certainly been I think you've read the what they've produced in 2024 completely accurately there, Sky. Just to give the weather conditions for today, we're in 19 degrees. I call that cold. Sky calls that gorgeous.
Beautiful.
The humidity's in the high 40s. It will not rain today. There is a breeze coming from, we believe it's right to left, and it could gust up to 25, 27 k's an hour during this game. So there was an element to which the left end was the scoring end in the previous match. There is, in fact, I forgot one milestone in the previous match, but certainly in this match, we are on 100 watch. Later on today, as we were last week, Megan Hunt of Southport has 99 goals in this competition. So the stats nerd here, and other people who the stats nerd's been annoying during the week, are on watch for her 100th goal. But she's not alone. In this game, number 20 for Coorparoo, Janae Govan, is on 98. She kicked 3 goals last week against Yeronga in a match which they struggled, actually, and then in the fourth quarter were able to break away. But Janae Govan played a few years in the midfield, so she's averaging less than a goal a game, but when she's been forward, 2018 she was the leading goal scorer in the competition. If she gets on the board twice today, I'm not allowed to encourage a pitch invasion. But the fact that I just said that, yeah, no, I shouldn't. Okay.
It's like telling a child not to do something, Daniel. You just make them want to do it more.
I am old enough to... No, I'm not going to go there. That's fine. So, but Coorparoo versus UQ. I think you've already suggested that Coorparoo will be a little bit stronger today. They have... Sometimes it takes them a little while to break open. Do you necessarily expect to see them... and it looks like Coorparoo will be running to the left, so it's the scoring end. I suspect they'd want to get a good start.
Doesn't every team?
Okay, that's a bit of a truism, yeah. No, you've called me on that well, Sky. Yeah, thank
Absolutely,
you.
Absolutely. But I do also think that they have the legs, so even if they don't get off to a good start, I think Coorparoo might actually finish off a little bit better than UQ as well. So we'll see. Time will tell.
And the highest scoring game of this year was when these two teams played in round 5 at St Lucia. 18 goals. And UQ scored 45 points and lost the game. It's the highest scoring loss of the year. And it's Lucy Hicks of UQ who gets the first tap down. Looking forward towards Gabby Simpson, who'll play a full game this week. Goes wide, Grace Roberts-White, who's been outstanding in the midfield for Coorparoo this year. It's knocked back, loose ball. Jess Watts with a rare errant hand pass. Lara Mason in the number 9 jersey for UQ on the side. Play will break down. Early ball up. Out the back, number 2 jersey, Macy Brown, welcome back. Horrible injury up in the Northern Territory a year and a half ago. Forget if it was an ACL or a broken leg. ACL, so good to see players return. And she can be an excitement machine. Don't want to put too much pressure on her today, though. It's Coorparoo who are attacking the right of screen. Inside from McCormick as it's turned over to UQ. Huge kick from Laura Roy. Just beats Lauren Middleton. Out on the full. Yes, the wind is blowing right to left. I think it's established. Need some leafier trees on the far side. Or some flags. We're bursting through the middle from... No, it was Brown. Cooper on the attack. Looking wide. I think that's Deshich in the headgear. That's wrong, but she's able to clean up. Meg Muir just had it run away from her. Back inside came to Erin Gilbert, and she'll win the free kick. UQ about 80 from goal. It was Charles with the free kick. Gilbert was around the contest. Ashley Moyle in 15 for UQ, competing hard. And then strong tackle from Edie McCabe. Wearing the unfamiliar number 17. Often when the teams get the Pride jerseys made up, they can't always get the numbers that the players usually wear. So McCabe moves from 59 to 17 this week. As Moyle was tackled strongly. Good work from the Coorparoo defence. Caitlin Zielinski? Yes, it was. Only a halfback flanker last year, but has been enjoying life in the middle of the park in 2024. Controlling it on the left. Feta Hargich unable to get a kick away, and UQ have worked well. Laura Roy putting it inside 50. Goes over the back to Condren. Hits the behind post. That'll be a throw-in. We should check at some point, maybe at quarter time. The Queensland under-18 girls team have been, they'd just be finishing their match against the Allies out at Springfield. And sadly, it has taken a few players away from this festival in the northwest of Brisbane. You'll be able to watch that game on the AFL Women's website during the week. The ball just went underneath Middleton. But UQ locking it in. Again with strong tackling, and Lara Mason's made a strong start to this match. Condren knocked it forward past McCabe. Pionti through the middle. Beautiful handball off. And the goal is scored by Gabby Simpson.
There's a bit of backtrack coming on from the Coorparoo players. I think they're signalling for a throw, so there might have been something missed there. And I would have almost said there was a high contact just about before that as well. So series of event, but they've got the first goal.
There was some slick ball movement inside. Simpson comes off for a breather. In fact, the entire forward line comes off for a breather.
I think, yep, they had 3 come off and 4 go on for a second there. Lucky it was picked up just in time.
Be an interesting change to the Aussie rules laws. Just introduce a power play where you can have a 17th player on the field for a maximum of 5 minutes.
Some extra.
Cooper able to get the ball out of the middle. Went behind Henning. They've regathered. I think that was Chesterfield from about 30 out. Running onto it is Deegan, who's playing forward today, most of this year in defence. Just appealing for out on the full against Julia Dawson. Will just be a throw-in. I will say, and this is a description, not a criticism, no team appeals for umpiring decisions more than Coorparoo does. It's just part of
it's worth
what they
a
do.
try.
Oh, indeed.
I've seen someone change an umpire's mind before.
Starcevich tells the Lions to do it. And they've been moderately successful, you'd have to say. Goes out wide to Muir. Air swing, strong tackle again from Mason, who's been defending well at both ends of the field, if that makes sense. She makes forward 50 and defensive 50 tackles.
One thing about UQ last week is they did not give up, did they, Daniel? They just, even though they were getting beaten, they were persevering and pressuring 100% of the game, start to finish. So that was really impressive, and that might help them today.
That was a ball up as Laura Roy made a liar out of me and started appealing for UQ for an umpire's decision. As I hear all the Coorparoo fans listening to this call going, yeah, Daniel. Didn't really go far. So as with the previous game, play getting bogged down on that eastern side of the ground. Another ball up. Jasmine Fretwell back in the ruck today. Played a lot there in the last couple of years, but been mostly in the last line of defence this year. Josie Hargraves playing against her old club. Just had it fall through her legs, but Yuki were able to clear nonetheless. Went through the legs of Puyunti. Mason, disciplined enough not to tackle. Yuki retain, hint of a throw, and in fact that's exactly how the umpire sees it. The free kick goes to Roberts White. I thought that was a miss kick, ended up judging it absolutely perfectly. Through to Deegan. Deegan again, they're kicking into the wind, Coorparoo, so some of their kicks are holding up. Dawson read it well. Good charge down, however. That might have been Fretwell again. No, that was Deegan. Just want to make sure the right player gets the credit because it was brave play. Deegan, who's in the Queensland softball team, had a Queensland baseball rep in the previous game. Molly Patterson. Well cut off by McCabe. Goes inside, finds a run of Knife. Knife inside 50, looking for Condren. Did everything except mark it. Good work at the back from Mitchell. She's been impressive in recent weeks. Made her debut about a month and a half ago. Has done some spectacular things. Was very good against Bond Uni. Desic got it forward. Just a couple of half-hearted marking attempts from McCormick and possibly Laura Roy. But again, the players have decided that the best place to bog this game down is where there's not a spectator in sight. Maybe they're shy.
Always happens, doesn't it? No matter what side you're commentating on, it always spends majority of the time on the far side.
You're right, I just met my whinging quotas today, so I'm keeping silent. Inside, McCormick has it covered. Just got the handball away before she met with Deegan, who's been tracking back a long way. Pionti not able to hold on. Boundary throwing. Just the one scoring shot so far, that to Gabby Simpson. Halfway through the first term. The 5th of 16 quarters on this oval today. Roberts White pulled off it by Mason. And Mason's tackle count, considering we're 9 minutes into the match, must be astronomical. Blows inside 50. Pionti goes wide. Knife behind the defence. Not a lot of pressure on the defenders. Although Condren provides it from behind. Realised she wasn't going to get there first. Did the next best thing.
That's right. Wrap it up. Get a contest. She's got some of her teammates to get down and help her now.
188 centimetres, Bridie Condren. She's learning how to use it in football, having come across from netball. Good clearance. I believe that was Mitchell, it was. Knife appealing for deliberate, and she wins it. I need to retract what I said about Coorparoo before. No, actually, I was making a season observation. I'm sticking to it. So Knife comes in field. That's lovely over the back. And that was Sammy Nunn. Often plays on the ball, but has dropped back. The first bit was lovely. The second bit, not so much. Doesn't need me to say that. Important ground in the history of Queensland women's football. This was the first home ground for the Brisbane Lions in the AFLW. And if you haven't seen footage of Kate McCarthy's 100-metre run for a goal from left halfback against Collingwood in the first year, find it now. UQ locking it in front 50.
You can see they're sticking to that real strict one-on-one, don't they? They did it last week and they're doing it again now. They just go back to basics, stick one-on-one on the player, and it kind of almost eliminates the structure that the other teams are trying to set up. So it will be interesting to see how the game goes on, how Coorparoo try to deal with that.
Went through the hands. Eventually the shot will come in from Sartor. Rolling towards goal. And some strong work on the line from Zielinski. Has it gone through yet, or is play still alive? It's eventually called a behind. I think the field umpire, Rowan Briggs, and I'll get to the rest of the umpires in a moment, He thought it was over. I think, yeah, the goal umpire's not so much pulling rank, but just saying, look, I was closer. And I think it should have been play on, but it has been called a behind. So UQ extend their lead. And Coorparoo into the wind, try to get outside 50. And I think it has really picked up. McCormick tackled.
Great tackle.
And in fact,
she's been
I agree. That was Emily.
pinned in the back.
Emily Harding.
It's a fine line, isn't it, with those tackles? You know, sometimes they're balls, sometimes they're in the back. So that's a little bit unlucky there. It was a strong tackle.
Long kick from McCormick with the wind behind her.
I think she shocked herself then. I love that.
20th match in this competition, first goal.
We love the enthusiasm.
Rarely finds herself that far forward, but when you've got a 25k an hour wind behind you, you can play a high defence, and then that happens. See, Sky, that's why you need to work on your celebrations, in case you're playing in a 25k an hour wind.
Just bomb it from half back, you reckon?
Now, I got mixed up before the game when I was working out which teams were running, but what I meant by the importance of getting a good start was that when you've got the wind advantage, you've got to use it. And so far, UQ has scored. I don't know. I wasn't clear. It's not your fault. But no. Sometimes if you're running into the wind in the first and third quarters, you can start to think, well, realistically, it has to be about containment now. If we get one against the flow, well and good.
Yeah, no, you're right. When it comes to utilising the wind, you can get a jump and get goals like that you might normally miss. So it does make a difference. If you don't capitalise on it, when you're going against the wind, you're really going to struggle. Sammy
Nunn breaks 2 tackles, then puts a good kick outside 50. Nearly found a runner. Just getting around Gilbert. And that was Meg Muir, who can run all day. Harriet Knife gets distance. Out on the full it was. Of course, the other thing about running with the wind first quarter is that sometimes the wind inexplicably dies down. Up at Domino's Park at Maroochydore, it's notorious for the wind being with you in the first and third quarters, and then when the other team is supposed to get the wind, it just mysteriously disappears.
There is a lot of luck in football.
Yeah, skill's overrated. Macy Brown had back position, but Charlotte Andrews, the UQ vice-captain, third year in football. This UQ side is full of netball converts. Charlotte Andrews, a former Ipswich Jet, where she played with, I think, both Lucy Hicks and Steph O'Brien. And Chloe Litherland from Wilston Grange. I think sometimes there are more women's footy talent scouts at the netball than there are at the football.
Yeah, they do pull a lot of dual sportsmen over, don't they? We've got some great netballers in our team.
Oh, Southport versus UQ football teams in netball would be and you'd be there.
Yes. Ex-netballer. It's one of the hardest sports to transition from, though, I will say that.
I think equestrian's probably harder, as Harding takes that on the left wing. Good first year in southeast Queensland, having come down from the north. Only just missed the mark on the far side. That might have been Brown, who looks to be fully recovered. And I hope that's not a commentator's curse, because particularly, I was able to say in the preview, brilliant article written on the AFLQ website, if I do say so myself. But Brown and Chesterfield as a small forward combination for Coorparoo can thrill everyone, regardless of who you cheer for. Deegan put the bump on. It's just able to knock Henning out of the way. Henning playing her 101st game in the Bond University QAFLW. Wonderful century celebration at St Lucia last week. Important period for Coorparoo. If they can get one against the wind here, as Geddes just took on one too many, but she's been one of the best running players in this comp for nearly a decade, Kayla Geddes. And then the work undone by Laura Roy, who showed ambition, but not quite enough speed. Grace Roberts-White with the free kick. Keeps it wide. Henning got front position, couldn't hold on to it. Coorparoo with an opportunity. They've kept it wide. They've done enough as Maddie Crowley-Long. More on her in a moment. Holding off the ball. And we'll just hold Maddie for a moment as Coorparoo have another chance to go inside 50 through Harding. That's a good intercept mark taken at the back by McCormick. And Maddie Crowley-Long, as well as being UQ captain, over 100 games in this competition, but is an AFLQ employee and had quite a lot to do with organising today. So Pride Round, I mean, she's a very humble person. She will deflect as much attention as she can, but the success of today is partly to the credit of Maddie Crowley-Long. Feta Hugic goes across field. And that gives you an idea of how strong the wind is. She can kick 45 metres without breaking a sweat. And that one struggled to go 25. Hargraves and Piunti through the middle. Lovely step from Piunti. Fell short of the target. Had McCabe in mind. Feta Hugic spins out of a tackle for 300th time this season. Finds Zielinski. The other thing about Maddie Crowley-Long is she's also a WNBL referee, and she flew in from a finals match overnight, got here this morning, and she feels a little bit tired. Sammy Nunn. Nearly cut off by Dawson, in a lot of space anyway. I suspect this is one of those games that's just overrun by Nikki Shaw in the black headgear, where each coaching team always has to come up with two sets of tactics, one for when you've got the wind and the other for when you're running into it. Not sure if you've been in situations, Sky, where that's been your instruction, which is like, okay, everything we did in that quarter, forget it. Now we've got to play like this.
Absolutely, and it all depends on the game. You know, if it's a close game, you're going to try to lock down the opposition when they've got the wind and just try to minimise damage.
And of course, the other people who hate the wind are the boundary umpires, and we'll go through them now. Proudly supported by Bradham's Windows and Doors. In the field, Rowan Briggs and Caleb Hahn. On the boundary, Riley Clark and Hunter Moore. And in goal, Zoe Matthews and Finn Maddock. And all the best to all 6 umpires today, but I wish strength for the boundary umpires, whose throws could either double or halve, depending on which way they're throwing. Player down. Just got Alyssa Gall needs to move out of the way. If we can get a message to get Alyssa to move out of the way, we can see who the player is. Now Alyssa Gall, someone else who's either was a halfback flanker or a winger. A good first year in this competition from, I want to say, the Cairns Saints. Still a teenager as well. Can't tell if Feta Hugic is the injured player or whether she's kneeling in front of the injured player. Kneeling in front. Ah, that looks like Jasmine Fretwell. Now the good news, and I use that term very loosely, is that Coorparoo have more ruck options on a field than most other teams. They've got a premiership ruck in Miga Toibler, who's playing in defence. Monique Perry began this game on the bench as well, and she's been first choice ruck for most of the season. I think this move's just tactical. And you can also throw people like Zielinski in there if you need to. But that's not to say that Fretwell That's not to say that Fretwell won't be a loss, particularly if she was intended on being moved into defence later in the game, where she's been very good this year.
I think this quarter time is going to come at a really good time for Coorparoo. I think they just really need to have a bit of a regroup and analyse, listen to the coaching staff about how they're going to go up against UQ. I think UQ have done a really, really good job at one-on-one winning those contests, and just, I don't know, interesting game compared to what we probably thought at the start, Daniel.
So hopefully Jasmine Fretwell will be okay and can continue to take part in this game. UQ lead 2-1, 13 to no score. Does that mean it's a 13-point breeze, or does that mean they're a 13-point better side? We're going to get a better answer in about 25 minutes. Thank you for joining us for Jarrah Corporate Pride Round here, round 12 of the Bond University QAFLW at South Pine Sports Complex, Brendale. Goals to Gabby Simpson and Lucy McCormick, a maiden goal for her in the Bond University QAFLW, have given University of Queensland a 13-point lead over Coorparoo at quarter time, but it is a strong wind. UQ had the advantage in the first quarter. Coorparoo will have that in the second because it appears to be as strong. My name is Daniel Viles. With me is Sky Burgess. Your thoughts on the first quarter, where you could argue that the two teams were playing different games, really?
Yeah, I was super impressed with University of Queensland. We saw a little glimpse of it when they played Southport last week, even though they were playing a better side that they lost to. They still showed all these really good glimpses, like their run with the ball. I think they're very disciplined, even though they don't have fancy structures. They are very well disciplined at keeping that one-on-one, and it almost throws teams off because everyone's used to doing walls and setting up, minding space, but they just go one-on-one, and I think sometimes it makes teams take a step back and go, okay, hang on, okay, how are we going to combat this? So it will be interesting to see how Coorparoo come out in the second quarter.
I'll also might ask you to keep an eye on this, and you probably would have anyway, as Emily Harding's just running back to the chain sheds. She's running at a good pace, so she's not injured. But sometimes there's a bit of cat and mouse there where a team can start contested, draw the opposition in, and then go, ha-ha, now that you're in, now we're going to play wide and play a bit more freely. So
yeah,
be interesting to watch. It's also a way of finding out which contests you're winning and which ones you're not. Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. Check out Facebook High Flyer Images as Dion Menzies. Bit of a legend in Queensland football in these parts. But High Flyer Images on mostly Facebook. And on about Wednesday, pretty much everything you're watching right now will be in photographic form. Second ball up, not that far from the first. Second quarter, second match. As Jane Childs thought about doing a somersault over the ball and then thought, no, I'll just stop. One of the dominant players of this season, Jane Childs, leading a few stats categories. Tackles being the most prominent. Josie Hargraves resting well on the ground. Laura Roy made sure the umpire, she was held, but she also made sure the umpire knew. Goes towards the 50. Knife had it. Well attacked from the back by Nunn, who then releases the run of Muir. Finds Brown. Remember, Coorparoo have the wind. It seems to still be there. Crowley along with the punch from the back. I'll get Sky to comment in a moment, but the structure, they've lost the ball now. As Coorparoo round again the outside. Henning tracking back. Has Govan on her tail. Remember, on goal watch for Govan. But no, the way that UQ defended that, where they had Crowley along at the back, but then there was a player for her to punch two in front of her, was what I was looking at.
Yeah, very, very, very smart.
Henning comes wide, started at halfback, has moved back. Middleton, bit of a sky ball, and just wrong foots the defence and allows Moyle the chance to run through. She goes inside 50. Condren has no one in front of her. Now she's going into the wind, has a long run. Looking to dribble it through. Well off target to the left. In fact, it just took a late bounce to go fairly close to the goalpost.
I don't think it come off the boot well. It was spinning forward, the ball. So just sometimes when you got that pressure, sometimes when you have the open goal, it's almost worse because you feel everyone coming behind you and you just panic a little bit.
At least it's a dry day and the ball will keep rolling. There'd be a good compilation video of players who didn't kick hard enough in the wet and watch the ball just land in the goal square. So UQ regather. The defensive work, yes, that's called holding. Excellent work by Jess Watts. Again, slightly tautological to say excellent work by Jess Watts. Finds Gall. Now we saw Jasmine Fretwell in a little bit of trouble at quarter time, so we'll keep an eye on her. Megan Evans goes wide. Through the hands of Zielinski. Knife did well at the back and Laura Roy cleared, but cut off by Teubler, playing against her old club. Crowley Long misses. Muir and Brown combine. Muir knocks it underneath the defence of Gilbert. They're just outside the 50. Trying to knock it forward. A lot of UQ players behind the contest. Crowley Long was the last, but brought to ground strongly by Brown. Now, we've just got an error on the scoreboard. That last behind was credited to Coorparoo rather than UQ, but the score is 15-0. I apologise, it was a late behind in the previous quarter. I'm awake. Daniel's just been corrected by the scorer, and the scorer was absolutely correct. Yes, I'm a middle-aged white man who can be told. As Coorparoo gather outside the 50, Zielinski with a long kick. Off hands, Govan. Got the handball away. About 6 UQ players around it, but was that dribbled through? No, just a one-pointer. For a moment, I thought Chesterfield had got a boot to it. Scored an amazing goal on Pride Round 2 years ago at Lation Park, where kicked the ball towards goal. It was missing to the left and then just pulled up. The Southport players stopped. She didn't. And did a check side soccer to put it through the goals. Laura Roy. Overkicked that. That's a lovely half-volleyed kick from, I think, Brown. McCormick ended up in space. I'm still going to drool over Brown's half volley. Geddes chasing hard. Look at the will. Got to that ball harder than anyone else. Condren eventually put some pressure on. She saw the possible danger. UQ struggling to retain possession, and in the end they don't. Getting it back now through Hargraves. And in the end, I could have sworn they coughed up the ball. They still haven't really won it, but even now McCormick will have the chance to clear up the left. Gets it to Pionti.
I thought she was going to turn and go just then. She had a country mile in front of her.
Had to slow down. Looking for McCabe. Brought to ground quickly by Roberts White. Boundary throw in. It's just for people who watch the Wilson Grange-Yeronga game. Naomi Celebre is just walking to the change sheds now. She looks a little bit worse for wear, but at least she's walking. Monique Perry on the ground and very nearly followed that through until she got a bad bounce at the end. Work from Hicks, Knife and Zielinski, who's been excellent early. Eventually went without it, but even just interrupting the play was good work. Laura Roy lands in space. Blaney coughed it up. Shaw has time for a bounce. Nikki Shaw, 2 bounces. Nikki Shaw over the defence. It's not well off target.
Good effort though. Confidence, good positioning around the contest, and to be able to take off and have 2 bounces under pressure, that was really well done.
Another 16-year-old plays at the academy, and I've seen her play both in defensive and attacking roles. I think yet another from the West's Junior AFL Club factory, which probably the most notable alumnus is Ava Seaton. Childs trying to get away from Nunn. And we have one of the nicer examples in history of Nunn's tackling Childs. Condren versus Perry. Zielinski. There was a throw before that. And the free kick goes to Jane Childs. Ball moved around quickly. I confess I wasn't sure whose throw it was. I'm starting to wonder whether the wind has died down out there and Coorparoo is sort of being cheated of the weather conditions, or by the weather conditions. But Jane Childs on a tight angle. Won't make the distance. Well roved. Good work from Federhugic at the back. Breaks the tackle, clears. Goes back to Childs, but she goes without it. And Roberts White is able to clear further. Not able to get past Crowley Long, who'd come up high. Pumps it back in. And then wonderful work again from Watts, who then, if you bounce when you're being tackled, the umpire will blow a whistle. And that's a very rare loss of concentration from Jess Watts, who's one of the most composed players, probably in Australia, if we're honest.
Could have almost been a trip as well. It was toying the line then.
Kick from outside 50, looking for a marking target, won't find one. Players hit the deck. They end up having a ball search behind. Sammy Nunn, who's been important. Condren just stands there and taps it over her shorter opponent. I think the only taller player in the competition than Condren is in her own side. That's Laura Clemisha, who's out today. She was a Suncorp Super netballer. Condren through the pack. Righty Condren scores.
Straight out of the ruck. That's impressive. And to find that space is like threading a needle, Daniel.
Couldn't agree more, Sky. I suppose the advantage of not having to jump for a ruck is you've got time to think about what you're going to do next.
Well, Cooper really just need a lift, don't they? They need to get a goal to get themselves in the game and get that energy up and about. I think they're, at this point, just letting UQ dominate the game a little bit too much. They need to get back to playing their game instead of getting sucked into UQ's playing style. We're not even seeing that physicality that they're normally so good at.
Good point. Even then, it's UQ who wins the clearance, releases the ball to the left, put through by Simpson. Goes off a couple of pairs of hands, mainly Moyle. She'll get another chance now. But crashing out from defence, that was brave work from the red-booted Feta Hugic, who then wins a free kick for high contact as well. And if any comeback is going to happen from Coorparoo, and there's a long time left, I don't mean to suggest they're in dire straits, but Feta Hugic is an inspiring player. Good choice as captain this year. Rory Lake doesn't need my approval, but there was certainly a smile on my face when Sally Young stepped down. Well, given that Sally Young stepped down from the captaincy, that it was Feta Hugic who they went with. Harding inside, beautiful work. Went inside from Desic. Through from, I think, Geddes in the middle. Goes up towards Chesterfield. Got a handball away under the tackling pressure of Henning. And only semi-turned over. Charlotte Andrews did well to tie it up. But Coorparoo put a small wall in front of her. Maybe slightly lucky child. She certainly took on the defenders and relied on not having prior opportunity. Hicks in the ruck, but it's out the back to Watts. Lovely duck from Muir. Crowley Long punching at the back and halving that contest. There is a pride flag, and there's several, but can't quite get a gauge on the wind. The pride flag's definitely blowing to the right, which is actually the opposite from how it's been blowing. So I think Coorparoo have been cheated by Mother Nature.
It seems to be blowing a lot more across the ground now, doesn't it, instead of right to left.
There's Henning marks in defence. Thought about playing on and then successfully pretended that she didn't. Important skill. Goes centrally, and that just blew away from Shaw, which I think backs up the crosswind theory. Feta Hugic back inside 50. Govan.
Have a shot. She looked like she was going to pass it off for a second there.
Oh, if I was Janae Govan, firstly, weird. Secondly, I'd definitely shoot from here. I repeat, 98 goals in this competition.
So this would make 99.
Oh, you're good. Janae Govan likes it.
Oh, hit the post.
I swear that swung at the last second. But Coorparoo is starting to get a little bit of control in this match. And at the risk of stating the obvious, they'll want a quick turnover here. Henning comes open side, which she often does. See, that's swinging away from Dawson. Dawson read it well, got there ahead of Geddes. Has Shaw further ahead. But good work from Desic in the headgear. Another 16-year-old. Shows good skill. Gathers at the back now. Check side pass. Well done by Gilbert at the back. Keeps it wide. Past the outstretched arm of McCabe, and then Moyle broke away. Moyle has Middleton up front. Middleton goal side. Takes the mark, drops it. Needs to get away from Nunn. Can't. Sammy Nunn with the goal saver. Meg Muir clears on the open side. Got it to Lara Mason, and then Harding sweated on the fumble, and then Mason flattens her. Coorparoo away. They're outnumbered at the back, but the pass is precise. Well marked by Govan, about 55 out. Slightly high kick. It'll need a good mark, and it gets one, mainly through reading it well from Roberts White.
She had really strong body work then, did she? She just held her space and waited for it to come to her.
Yeah, she's got some good physical strength, Roberts White, and some good passing skills. She picks out a target in the pocket. Is that Govan again who'd run forward? I believe so. It's important that I identify Govan right today. It's come off the left-hand side of the boot. Off hands, plenty of UQ players in defence. And then charging out of defence was Gilbert. Goes back towards Desic, who just held her ground and a player tumbled against her.
I like that. That's the physicality we're talking about. Hey, Daniel.
Is that an alpha move or a sigma move? I'm trying to get my modern lingo up to date.
A what?
Oh, you don't know sigma? I'm ahead of you. This is cool.
No.
Oh, I'll talk about that later.
Okay, you have to fill me in.
Moonball, handball inside. Clever tip over the back. Just didn't have someone waiting for it. Crowley long tried to spin out of trouble. Didn't work. I believe it's Chesterfield behind the pack. Misses. That's typical of Chelsea Chesterfield's output. So a bit under 5 minutes remaining. Still a 16-point game to UQ, and they've scored 1 goal into the wind in this quarter. Coorparoo have had some very good results on Pride round. I think it's 2 wins and 2 losses, but they've fought well in the 2 losses. And their first win was a grand final rematch against Wilston Grange, which they won 142-12. Govan just knocks it back. I think Govan kicked 3 that day. Someone you may have heard of kicked 5. That was Jess Wichner, who left Queensland when she was picked up by Essendon and finished on 97 goals in this competition. So Govan's gone past her. Now, she had a leg injury this week, Wichner, but I'd love to get her back and see if she can get to 100. Muir tackled strongly by McCabe. UQ running it outside of 50. Childs fumbles away. Hicks. Good work from Roberts White to get in the way of the handball. Gets possession. And then Sartor says, let's dance. The Astley and Bond University sides gathered below us. They're on field next. That game beginning at 2. Zielinski, who enjoyed her work today, goes back inside 50. McCormick with front position, knocked it forward. But Coorparoo regather. They're deep inside 50. Henning dropping the mark. Gives possession back to Brown. Henning got the tackle. I think the umpire was thinking about whether it was a push in the back, but I think because Henning was able to stop herself and not go completely through with it, was able to avoid being pinged. We will have a stoppage at right half forward. Simpson, front of the scoreboard, through to Sartor. Thought about passing back to Simpson, then saw that she was very much matched up upon. Brave mark, not taken. Otherwise, we're in Mark of the Year nomination territory. But Lucy Hicks, putting her body on the line. Zielinski impersonates a dead cockroach and then releases the ball to a teammate. Crowley long, just lost it in the wind. Inside from Harding. Knocked it back to Zielinski. Zielinski with another inside 50. Muir running towards it. Well cleaned up at the back. In fact, not able to run away was Gracie Roy. And the tackling strong from Coorparoo. Roy just taking a second to get up. I just missed who the tackler was, but impressive. Looks like Chesterfield. And given that we just got Brown back, don't lose Chesterfield. Hicks off Condrenon. So free kick to Coorparoo, to Chesterfield. Goes to the square. Good front position effort from Govan. Henning had her tracked. Govan breaks free. Feeds the ball outside, was looking for the run of Roberts White.
You could hear all the teammates screaming then get it in. There was only a minute on the clock and they just wanted to get it in. Try to get that shot on goal.
Depending on what the wind's doing, it looks to have died down completely, but hearing may be an issue today. Coorparoo with possession. Lost it. Good work from Gracie Roy, trying to make up for her earlier error. Pounced on by Feta Hugic. Feta Hugic drives it towards goal. She hasn't scored yet in this competition and won't now. Can you tell that I want it, though? You know, I'm not supporting a team. I just want Feta Hugic to score.
You're building it up. Sure she'll appreciate the support.
I've been a couple of players break long career droughts without a goal this year, namely Paris Lightfoot and Kishaya Matenga, who got up to, I think, 61 and 75 games respectively before kicking their first goal in this competition. Feta Hugic is up to 33 today. It'll happen. Back of the was that an early hold? Either way, UQ's done enough. Coorparoo dominated maybe the last 10 minutes of that term, and the University of Queensland were good enough to restrict it to minor scores. UQ 3-2-20 with goals to Gabby Simpson, Lucy McCormick and Bridie Condren. Coorparoo with 4 minor scores. Remember, a Coorparoo victory ends the finals race. A UQ victory blows it wide open. This is Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. Thank you to Jarrah Corporate for their sponsorship of this amazing occasion this year. Bond University QAFLW Round 12 from the South Pine Sports Complex in Brendale.
Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen, and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The Kitchen Lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment.
Thank you.
Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Back at the South Pines Sporting Complex for Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. They're proudly supporting AFLW Pride Round. They champion inclusivity and excellence, which is what today is about. And their business, expert services in risk, safety, training, systems and audit to help your business thrive while staying safe and compliant. But today is about diversity, championing the LGBTIQA+ community. But this match, second match of Jarrah Corporate Pride Round, Bond University QAFLW Round 12. Coorparoo up against the wall, 4 behinds, plays UQ 3-2-20. My name's Daniel Viles. With me is Sky Burgess. We'll get to Sky in a moment because I left her no time whatsoever. As Rowan Briggs gets things underway. The umpire is brought to you by Bradham's Windows and Doors. Out the front to Simpson. Simpson is away. Goes deep inside 50, looking for Condren. Goes over her head. This could be a goal from Simpson. Gabby Simpson!
That was unreal. Great ruck work paired with perfect positioning. She was out and couldn't have written that any better.
Shades of Danielle Ponter in the AFLW last year. I must confess, I can't remember where she kicked it from, but was that a 70-metre kick? Was she still in the square when she launched?
She was definitely outside the 50.
That's not in dispute. And yes, there is, it's wind assisted, so the world record can't come into play. But my word, Gabby Simpson has taken to Aussie rules. And if you're thinking, is that the netballer? Yeah, that's the netballer. 41 caps for Australia. Couple of premierships with the Queensland Firebirds, originally from Sydney, but been up here a long time. And she took about 25 seconds to score the first goal of the second half, just as she scored the first goal in the first half. The other significance of this result, and again I'm going very, very, very early here, is that this is the 25th match between Coorparoo and UQ. Of the 24 so far, Coorparoo's won 20. The Cadet Curse has nothing on this contest, even in the years when UQ won premierships. The first one, they lost to Coorparoo twice that year. They can beat every team in the competition, but not Coorparoo. Coorparoo has the ball now. Muir has been excellent today. Took a bit of a ride as she launched the kick. Gracie Roy got front position, went wide, found Knife. Knife goes check side, gives Condren a bit of time to run. In fact, gives Moyle time to run towards the boundary, and she's escorted over by Nunn. Now the weather, and Sky's very helpfully pointed out that while you're looking at the trees, Daniel, there's flags right there. So point taken. But during half time, I'll come back to that in a moment. Over the back to Hicks. Handballs forward, went over the head of Blaney. Recovered well. Did she take too many steps? Interesting call coming up. This is a shot on goal. Lauren Middleton. I'll get back to weather in a moment, but right now it's all about Lauren Middleton's set shot. Was the lone goal scorer for the Red Lionesses last week against Southport. And from what I can see on the flags, the wind appears to be right behind this kick. Starts right, stays right. A miss for Lauren Middleton. What I was going to say was during half time, I went out and stood just outside the boundary. I turned one way and the wind was blowing into my face. I turned the other way and the wind was also blowing into my face. It changed as I turned around. Now, I'm a large man, but I didn't cause that.
Chaos down there, is it?
It's swirling. Blaney goes over the head of Geddes. She'll get the second attempt. So it's Hargraves. Feta Hugic in the mask. Not sure why, but it is something we have seen before in this competition. Gracie Roy chasing. Good work from Roberts White, who, I mean, she's a very noticeable player. I'm leaning towards her as being Coorparoo's best today. As she gives away a free kick. Gee, I'm terrible. Lauren Middleton. That aside, but even there, just a willingness to get to the ball. Middleton looking for targets up front. Good work from Feta Hugic. I think she thought she heard a whistle. And she does win a free kick. I lost track of the play there, Sky. If you can make sense of it, please do.
No, also, I heard the whistle, but I'm not sure what they blew it for.
Lovely step from Feta Hugic. Been brilliant in defence this season. And finds a target. Deegan, I think that dropped on her just before she got hands to it. So ball up as Coorparoo again in their defensive half. As Hicks went sprawling, because I think she was about preparing to, I think she was airborne when she was bumped, so it looked more spectacular than it was. Simpson again. Couldn't quite get away from Brown. That's a victory for Brown. Roberts-White tried to get away from McCormick. Ball up. Hicks with the punch. Found a run just infield. Roberts-White, pilfered. Looking for Henning, holds up in the breeze. Govan read that superbly. Puts it into space, took the grass. The run outside from Muir. Muir gets a good bounce. Not a great kick. Dawson should clean this up. She didn't get the best bounce. Goes for the safety of the boundary. Did she disguise that well enough? It was clearly deliberate in the ordinary sense of the word. It's just a case of whether it's deliberate in the language of umpiring. I'm not singling out Julia Dawson. That's Aussie rules. Good boundary throw-in. Beats everyone. Laura Roy. Right foot chip to Mason. Good two-footed player. In fact, both the Roy sisters are. Cut off by Nunn. I've liked Nunn's work today. Outside 50. Driving it towards Deegan. Cut off by Gracie Roy. The lone UQ player to make the Queensland State squad. She was an emergency for the eventual match. First year in this competition, having come over from Morningside in the division down. Although next year, they will be in this competition. Morningside and Moreton Bay joining us. Zielinski just pulled off the ball as she was about to gather. Hicks over the top. Roberts-White again, racking up the possessions. Feder-Hugic got it behind her and then saw an advancing Simpson. Feder-Hugic again steps inside Moyle, then kicked it into Simpson, who barely flinched. Plenty of advice for the umpires coming from the benches. Monique Perry into the ruck. And I wasn't able to find out anything on Fretwell during the break. Apologies for that.
I didn't think he was going to see that, the umpire. He was on the opposite side, so he's done well to pull up that throw.
Good pickup. As Laura Roy steps around Macy Brown. Goes to left half forward. Couldn't quite find Moyle. Childs. Feder-Hugic working very hard. Comes away with it. And then wrestled with Sartor. It'll be a ball up. But good work from Sartor to realise that her tackle was about to be broken, so she went for the ball in the next play. Roberts-White wrapped up straight away. And I do love a good walking tackle where you have three people. Sometimes they're back there sort of facing the same way and you get a conga line effect, but not to be. Simpson again looking to run through the pack. Didn't work initially. Mason going towards Condren. I think she thought about knocking it into the path of Knife, and then the ball bounced the wrong way for her. But they've moved inside 50. And they're just getting it forward stoppage by stoppage, the Red Lionesses at this stage. Inside towards Mason, just couldn't get possession before she ran into Muir. And Brown working hard in defence. There is no one back of the centre square, never mind halfway. The UQ defence is standing between the square and the arc. I've never seen a field this congested.
You know, they've got that little bit of a lead now. It might be a tactic to try to lock it in there.
Well, Mitchell brought to ground. I think from this angle it looked worse than it was. The umpire calls a ball up. Suggests also if they can feel that the wind has picked up and it's simply not going to get past there. Well, we're going to get a test now. Lovely work. Taken at the back by Dawson. Condren is down at full forward. Got nothing going on where umpire Briggs is. What's going on? But it was about 30 metres further forward. So Julia Dawson, who certainly in terms of her positional awareness is getting better with age. She drives straight. Important in defence from Feder-Hugic. Apologies, that's none. Doesn't clear properly. Knife over the top. Nunn has a second opportunity. Was pushed, well, her left foot's her stronger foot. And then I think just instinctively saw the defender closing in on her and kicked it out in the full. Erin Gilbert, left half forward. Again, they're playing for one-on-one contests. Mitchell had it covered, then didn't. Nunn again, very keen to make up for her error. Knife gets it, pushes off her own teammate. Knife snaps. Touch just before the line. Alana Mitchell, I believe, with the last hand. Maybe Blaney. But either way.
Got to say, I'm extremely impressed with UQ's run today. They have got fitness and speed everywhere. They've got numbers around the ball. It is really awesome to see.
Absolutely correct. There is one major absence for Coorparoo, which I'll point out in a moment as Teubler comes across and takes an excellent mark. But I'm not sure of the reason. That's Middleton not paid the mark. I thought it probably touched in the just before she marked it. Lucy Schneider not in there today for Coorparoo. I think it's the first game or maybe the second game she's missed this year.
Ooh.
Outer zone umpire got a clear view of that and has given a free kick to UQ. I couldn't quite see why Condren had tumbled. But
someone just come across and cleaned her up.
The thing about being really tall is people see you as a challenge and they take it on. Don't ask me how I know. But no, Lucy Schneider's run, and I mean, no one finds space outside the contest better than her. And her absence today is having an effect as you'd expect. But general emphasis in this commentary box is always talk about the players who are there, not the players who aren't. But I think it's only fair to Coorparoo to point out they are missing a vital cog this week. Mason, good tackle. Strong from Zielinski. And I've liked her play this season and certainly today. There have been nights against Wilston Grange about a month ago when she was basically Coorparoo's best attacking creative force that night as the curse strikes again. She kicks at the Simpson, but her defensive work on show today has been brilliant. That's a huge kick from Simpson. Bounces in space, gets behind Mitchell. Piunti almost had front position. Nothing wrong with what Federhagic did in the bump, and then shakes off two tackles. I will not tire of watching Isla Federhagic run out of defence. Deegan nearly brought down, got the kick away well. Cleaned up at the back, and then not. Alyssa Gall take a bow. Appeals for 50. I think they were saying Gracie Roy wouldn't let the ball go. Goes underneath Henning. Janae Govin's goal side. Govin from a long way out. We've seen one long-range goal today. It's going to pull up. Now it's a foot race. Janae Govin's there, battling against Henning. Henning kept her feet. Not a great clearance. Zielinski. And that covering tackle from Gracie Roy was important.
She had all the time in the world, didn't she? Running into an open 50. She just panicked and tried to get it on the boot.
Got a theory on that in a moment, but I'll withhold while it's in 50. That's socket off the ground. It'll go through for a minor. As Emily Harding saw an opportunity.
What's your theory?
My theory is that Janae Govin is still an incredible athlete. She used to do a bit of Muay Thai and sort of fought semi-pro level. I think she's still quick, but because she's not as fast as she used to be, sometimes I think she doesn't trust herself in those situations.
Yeah, you've got to back yourself, don't you? Confidence. Fake it till you make it.
Federhagic turns inside towards Watts. She certainly had hands on her before she gathered, but umpire had a good view. Says, no, just the ball up will do me. Thank you.
We will keep an eye on Condren from UQ. She did come off after that bump and grabbing at her throat, and she's just speaking with the trainers now, so we'll keep an eye on her.
She's speaking like it's the Godfather. So I'm just imagining Bridie Condren sounding like the Godfather. Let's move on. Hargraves from the back. In fact, that's Muir. Apologies. Henning covering. Is tracking Govin well. Henning versus Govin is a high-quality one-on-one battle. Both of them now with over 100 games experience in this competition. As Perry ran straight into trouble. Concedes the free. Just the one goal in this quarter. That was a monster in the first minute from Gabby Simpson. 50 metres. Not sure if there was... I don't think I saw anyone run through the protected area. Could have been something off ball, could have been movement on the mark. Either way, UQ advanced 50 metres. Lucy McCormick. A maiden goal in this competition earlier today. And the team got around her big time. Nearly a one-hander from Middleton. Creates space. Handballs over the top. Undone. Good work from Harding. Who takes, given that Harding scored the behind before and is now making desperate lunges at left back pocket, her bending over and sucking them in is well earned. Hargraves on, Mason off. They've both worked well wide for UQ today. Punched through by Simpson, and then the tackle from Sartor on Desic. He hasn't been able to break free today, but once again, I've got the future watch on Enna Desic. Not least because I'm really proud of being able to pronounce her surname. Goal wrapped up by Knife, and Knife wins the free kick. Got the win behind her, Harriet Knife. Can score. Just the 3 goals this year. So they've been playing either an attacking midfielder or a half forward dropping back. Scored a wonderful goal against Yeronga on the live stream earlier this year. Normally outside her range, but wind. Knife doesn't look to have the distance over everyone. And eventually, not so much rushed through as just fumbled through. Lead back to a clean 4 goals. Okay, Sky, how did Coorparoo get outside their 50 and back into the forward 50?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think UQ are outrunning them at the moment, so I'm not sure. Come back to me on that one.
That's okay.
I feel a little bit frazzled for them, to be honest, because you can see them just trying to battle away. And UQ's run has just been really impressive.
I saw with the social media photos for your club, Southport, one of the signs on the dressing room wall, which I'm sure I was not supposed to see. But what it said was, your effort and your attitude are the only 2 things you can control. Everything else is out of your control.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It's not bad, and I expect nothing less from Peter Doherty and his staff. But I think what you can't fault with Coorparoo today is their effort and their attitude.
Yeah, that's right. They haven't let up. You can see they're trying. They're just getting outperformed, unfortunately.
They've got a chance now as it comes in field and then wrapped up straight away by the indefatigable Crowley Long, who I repeat was umpiring a WNBL match last night and is tired after flying back to Brisbane this morning. Mitchell underneath it. I think she had trouble judging the wind there, and I don't blame her one iota. Desic somehow got a kick away. That was clever in the circumstances and may yield a bit of fruit. Just rolled the wrong way past, I think it was Muir. And it's become a bit stop-start, which will suit the Red Lionesses, who have never worn less red in their life. Normally maroon jerseys, hence the name, but they're pride jerseys. Mostly white. Moyle clever, and then she'll be brought down just outside the 50. Sammy Nunn, who's done a mountain of work in defence today. Made one error before and then made up for it about 3 times immediately afterwards. Simpson crashing the back. Again, description, not criticism. It's been about 10 minutes since we've had some open running play.
Perhaps fatigue is starting to kick in.
Again, I don't blame them. Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say which could favour Coorparoo if they can wear down the run of UQ. Don't know what their fitness level's like, but the next quarter will certainly tell.
I think it's one of those things where everyone in this comp is fit. It's just a case of who's fitter. UQ on the attack. Hicks got it back to Simpson. Went for a snap. Was pretty much vertical. Was marked in a sense by Piunti, but clearly hadn't gone 15. Barely went 5. Another stoppage. Closing seconds of the third term. UQ well on top. Muir clears. Geddes. Out towards Harding. Clever little chip just into space. Crowley Long read it superbly. Still one of the quickest in the comp. Gets it to Knife. Well, she had a sighter a little while ago. Even with the wind, I suspect outside of her range based on what we saw before. But goes to the square. Fell just beyond the reach of Moyle. Then hit the turf, all legal. Allowed to play on. Ball up. There won't be time. It became attritional, but it started with a bang the third quarter of the second match of Jarrah Corporate Pride Round here at South Pine Sporting Complex. 4-5-29 for UQ. Coorparoo just the 5 behinds. Thank you for joining us here on the official AFLQ YouTube channel. Welcome back to South Pine Sporting Complex in Brendale, a ground I'm not quite sure whether it's owned by Aspley and leased by the Moreton Bay Regional Council or vice versa. But either way, it's Pride Round. Jarrah Corporate, your partner in safety and success, are bringing Pride Round to you today. They're proud to support AFLW Pride Round. They're promoting equality and pride in the community. And their business is risk management, safety training, systems implementation and auditing services. Jarrah Corporate, I believe also based in the north of Brisbane. On the field, UQ leading by 4 goals. My name's Daniel Viles. With me is Sky Burgess. See what you can sneak in analysis, Sky, before the siren sounds. Actually,
hold that thought.
That's fine. I sell you so short, Sky. It's
all good.
People screaming into their computers, going, "Let us speak." Gabby Simpson not able to get the first clearance of this quarter. Spectacular goal at the beginning of the previous one. Coorparoo gaining possession. Good work in the middle of the field. Evans was involved. As was, forgive me, that was Georgina Ott in the middle of the field. I think I've missed Ott a few times today. She's worked hard. So apologies to everyone related to Georgina Ott. Working the ruck from Hicks. Simpson attacks Federhagic. Federhagic got a good pass away under a lot of pressure. Brown got a horrible bounce and then met Ashley Moyle, who conceded the free.
That was a very rough front-on contact. She's lucky to not get hurt there.
That contact was, outside a pub at 2 a.m. kind of contact. So Govan worked very hard, got a left foot kick away, cleaned up by Henning, but Govan out-wrestled about 3 opponents. Federhagic!
Tried to get away. She was going to be out.
I mean, what she wants is 4 points for her team, but she also wants that first goal as a lower priority. Hit space. Govan. Just pointing out that a whistle might be good at this point. She takes front position. Perry versus Hicks. Perry tapped it wide, was looking for, I think, Harding. Gall. Just fumbling away, evades Dawson. Gets it out to Roberts-White. Didn't quite get the kick she wanted. Hicks is there, but it rolls away from both her and Harding. Now, as soon as you're ready, Sky, this is not the result that the form book predicted. No, we don't have a form book and I don't support gambling, but I don't think many people thought, no, UQ should be up by 4 goals at three-quarter time.
No, not at all. I thought it might have been a close game, but Coorparoo would get over the line. So for them to be up with this kind of lead at three-quarter time, I don't think anyone expected it.
As the shot in a hurry went out on the full from Ott. Just quickly took an Ott shot. Okay, that's out of the way. I'm never doing that again. Good work from Middleton. Found Hicks in field. Not a great kick. Middleton follows up and she'll be wrapped up by about 4 Kings. In fact, it did come loose on the far side. Deshic was further away from it than I thought. Child's chasing. Hasn't been as influential this week as she often is, but probably hasn't needed to be. And in fact, Sky, we do get a say in the Best on Ground award, which is being awarded for all 4 games here in Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. And it's been a very teamy performance from UQ as that boundary throwing goes understandably awry.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to pick a best for UQ because they've had such depth of talent. Like, they're all kind of utilising each other to play well. So for me, there hasn't necessarily been a real standout that's an obvious choice. So we're going to have to think hard about this one.
We'll start throwing some names around in a moment. And just to, as UQ get a free kick on the far side. Simpson went flying, just with the one hand. Deshic did well, gave it straight back to Simpson. Not a recommended career move. And then fights hard, got it out the back towards Zielinski. Goes forward, just hit the chest hard of, I think, Gall, it was. Cleaned up again. Back inside 50. Govan. Fumbled out the back. Soccers through. Has front position. Probably won't have time to pick it up. Just needs to soccer again. And somehow the desperate effort of the Red Lionesses' defence.
She did the right thing. She knew she had pressure on her and didn't want to pick it up. She socked it forward and then unfortunately just got beat in a foot race.
Let's face it, when you're trying to soccer an oval ball, there's always going to be some luck involved.
Oh, strength.
Eventually gives away the free kick, but...
Took three.
Yeah.
Took three. She did well, but yeah, when you keep taking them on like that, you're bound to get taken down.
So the closest thing I've seen to that battle was Gulliver's Travels. Out towards Childs. I think for me, for UQ, I've loved the outside run of Lara Mason. She's been an important link player today.
I think my issue is my favourite player on the field today is from Coorparoo. So, you know, when they're not going to be on the winning side, they're probably not going to get their medal. But
I think the three you could be thinking of are Federhagic, Zielinski and Roberts Weiss. As Middleton goes inside 50, awful kick. And I only say that because I know what she's capable of.
yeah, Roberts White was mine.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to take my eyes off her. She's been playing magnetic.
Sammy Nunn clears. She's been important today. Was cleaned up from the back by Dawson. Looking for Hargraves, tracked by Harding. Harding in field. Not high contact, but flirted with it. Although it'd be a fair effort for Lauren Middleton to get high contact on anyone. Maybe Courtney Sexton. Who's in the next game. When this game finishes, just find the, it's probably on your recommended videos list on the YouTube channel. It just goes through the hands of Laura Roy. Govan from a long way out. Shoots from nearly 50. It's not going to make the distance. It's just going to pull up. Maddie Crowley-Long got there rapidly. She goes wide, as every defender's taught to do. Sorry, Sky.
That's all right, I had my mic up anyway, lucky.
Oh, another shot on goal. Coming from wide. Missed from Meg Muir.
All I was going to say is they can't buy one today.
No.
I'm feeling for them a little bit. Poor Coorparoo. It's just not their day. You have those days as footballers and as teams, and I think it's just not their day today.
Henning runs out. She goes east side. Falls through everyone. Beautiful from Moyle on the outside. And a fend off on Roberts White. Looking forward for Condren. And a good tackle from Teubler.
I got to say, that's impressive work to be able to be running and getting chased down and turn around and do a fend off and keep running. You don't see that very often.
No, it's a very enjoyable job I have just watching the skills on show from every player in this competition every week. That's a throw. And UQ have a chance to put this to bed as the hand back to the kicker was just a little sloppy on a different day.
The wind is really picking up now too in the opposite direction, so it's going to take a lot for him to score here.
Watts was clean at the back, then got straight onto Moyle. Watts has done well. Couldn't quite knock it outside 50 and couldn't quite give Coorparoo running possession. And the danger for Coorparoo, now firstly they are in the box seat for fourth. They'll lose today, 2 games remaining. And they've got Aspley and Southport. Now they are capable of big upsets. They're the one team outside the top 3 that's beaten Bond University this year, as McCormick took on too much and concedes the free kick to Harding. But again, if the expected results occur, then that'll be finishing the year with 3 losses as a good intercept mark at the back from Laura Roy. In fact, that's Moyle. Oh, beautiful. In fact, it was right the first time, Laura Roy. Trust yourself, Daniel. Spins away from Pionti. She gets on to Watts straight away. One skill that's improved this is my 4th year commentating this comp, and you would often see a lot of people go in late for the tackle. They'd say, okay, I'm not going to get there first, so I'll get the tackle straight away. And they would give away the free kick with a really clumsy tackle. It still happens, but nowhere near to the extent it does. It's a skill that's really improved as Crowley-Long works back up the boundary. Gives it to Knife. No goal since Simpson's monster early in the 3rd. Good work from Teubler. Got front position, not able to finish it off. Against former teammate Middleton. Went in field. Run onto by Mason. Cops a heavy bump. Driven in towards the goal square. Condren has front position. Sockers. And Geddes is happy to concede the point. With 10 minutes left. Okay, 4 goals in 10 minutes is certainly possible, but I'm not sure that Coorparoo has shown any evidence in the last 70 minutes that they're just going to suddenly produce 4 goals. Desic goes through the middle. She looked good up until that point, but I think you have to say that was the wrong option.
Yeah, certainly a dangerous kick to do.
And so Hicks goes towards the pocket, clears everyone. Zielinski was bumped off by Piunti and then she bumped off herself. Out towards Muir, who's done her best today in the absence of Schneider to do a Schneider impersonation. As Gould comes on off for a rest rather, and Brown goes on for Coorparoo. UQ on the attack again. They conceded minor scores, Zielinski. No, I'm a Roberts White fan. I am a Zielinski fan. Out and proud. Probably the wrong thing to say today. Didn't mean to cheapen that statement. Muir. Henning got front position, went for the slap, went out towards Crowley Long. Free kick to Harding. Harding over everyone. Goes towards Brown. Took the mark, and I think if she hadn't stumbled, she was off. Maybe just learning to trust the limbs again. Over the top of Gall, who clearly didn't come off before. Apologies for the mis-ID. Warren out of defence from Childs. Andrews had to work hard. And then a good strong tackle from Blaney. Blaney gives it to Federhagic. Federhagic shoots from a long way out. Federhagic has her first goal in the Bond University QAFLW.
Finally, some reward for effort. You know, that was a great tackle to make the turnover happen and for them to finally get one on the board. They needed that.
33rd match in this competition for Arla Federhagic. Not as long as some in this competition. But Coorparoo's social media needs to clip that out. In fact, they need to clip out Federhagic's first goal played on social media. I think also a life-size portrait in the Coorparoo clubhouse would be appropriate. But no, very, very happy to see the Coorparoo captain score. In exactly the if you had to pick how Federhagic would score her first goal, I think rebounding just outside the 50 and driving one would have been exactly how I would have predicted it. And that's not a brave prediction at all. Mason again to Federhagic. She will play on. Just through the hands of Gracie Roy. Attacks it hard, legally. Laura Roy. Out from the middle. Good work at the back from Blaney. Federhagic covers the fall of the pill. And just another ball up. Well, Coorparoo, of course, have suffered a miracle loss to Maroochydore this year, so they will keep believing that they can produce a miracle win. Mason, and I think overall, that's who I'm leaning towards for my best on ground, Lara Mason, because I think her work to position herself outside the contest, then provide a bit of run and carry and get it going forward. It's that's not a lay down misere. I will certainly accept debate on that, but I think that's how I'm leaning. Goes underneath Brown. Gracie Roy. She's had a good second half. Childs. No one able to get control. Bounces about 4 different directions. Ott. Brought to ground but disposed earlier. Good work out the back from Gracie Roy again. Comes through to Dawson and she gets the thump on. To Mule. Piunti read it well. Condren. Through the middle. Going route 1. Just fell short of McCabe. But she's able to put the tackle on Mitchell, who then kicked the wrong way because she didn't know it was the wrong way. And suddenly UQ inside 50, looking to put a full stop on an impressive performance. Desic strong at the back, broke away. Now it's just a case of finding a teammate, which she does. Federhagic. Over the top to Govan. Govan. Towards the 50, Henning cleans up expertly. Disposed towards Childs. Childs runs in 3 different directions, and there was holding off the ball.
Oh.
So Govan gets the free kick just outside 50. Sorry, Sky.
No, I was blown away a little bit. She gave it right back to Hennings just to let her know.
It's behind the play. Handy throw in. Still 5 minutes remaining. And I'm nothing if not a sporting romantic, and I live for the miraculous.
Even extra goals is going to help. Like when it is going to come to a tight finals countdown, percentages counts as well. So, you know, even if you're going to lose and get a few more goals just to shorten that percentage, it might make a difference come finals time. Yeah,
Coorparoo's going into this game was not quite 100%. They'd scored 410 points and conceded 414. And even today, it's certainly not a blowout. I mean, a 17-point loss is not going to damage their final chances more than just the loss will. As UQ get the benefit of an infringement in their own 50. No, they don't. Does anyone know what's going on? Yes, Bridie Condren has a free kick 20 metres out from her own goal. Well, I've had my say for BOG. It's you have the floor, Sky Burgess.
Yeah, I'm stumped. I did like Condren. I think she has had a good game. We spoke about it off air a little bit, but you took the words right out of my mouth. She's been really good when she does get to the ball. Yeah. She's got that strength and she can kind of make things happen.
I think also I can be a little bit sort of midfielder happy where I look at players who have been on the ball a lot, whereas, of course, if you're a rucker or a key forward, that's not your job. Your job is to impact the play when you've got the opportunity. Watts turns and goes inside 50. Was looking for Govan. I think it's fair to say that Henning has won that one-on-one battle with Janae Govan today. Which is no disgrace for Govan. There's a reason Henning's got to 100 games.
Yeah, she's had a pearl a couple of games today, and even last week she did really well.
I like that you've resurrected the word pearler. I used to use it a bit. And sounds good from you. And not really going anywhere. UQ have held out for long periods. The one goal they couldn't. In fact, they have conceded a free kick. Got to get better at that. Harding, tough angle, and I have no idea what the wind's doing in that particular pocket right now. It's been a swirling breeze today at high speed. Looks to fall short, and Childs realised it was falling very short and picked it off. 3 minutes remaining.
I think she was trying to centre it. She did put her arms up and wave her teammates to kind of set up, but unfortunately the kick just didn't come central enough.
Of course, there's every chance it held up in the wind as well. That didn't go 15, but it doesn't matter. Knife rounded out. Found Simpson. Simpson will come wide. Maybe not where it was intended. Evans. Brought to ground strongly. A brave play from Megan Evans, which is typical. Coming up next, Aspley versus Bond University. It's a grand final rematch. And maybe the double chance in the finals on the line. Both sides with significant outs, but plenty of talent on the park. Erin Gilbert just knocked it back. Henning cleared. Zielinski went chasing. None. Good work from Shaw. Out towards Moyle. Simpson. Simpson just goes across the play. Saw the run of of Sartor, couldn't quite make it. And then a strong tackle from Feta Hagic wins the free kick.
Might have been a little bit of miscommunication there from UQ. Two of them kind of went for it, and then one pulled out, and then it kind of put the poor girl that picked the ball up in danger.
As Childs ran it back out, found Knife. And then they've had the luxury of being able to put a lot of players behind the ball, UQ. Good step out of defence from Hicks. Continuing the movement, Simpson. Took the mark, then found a lot of space. And the counter-attack breaks down. There's Meg Muir, who's been outstanding today. Another intercept mark, whether on the wing or whether having to help out in other parts of the field.
We've seen a lot of the step-arounds today, haven't we?
It's very in.
I think everyone's getting a lot more confident with it.
Gall with a wonderful snap. It was bouncing towards Brown and then bounced away from her. Still looking for space. Has support behind her. Plays the 1-2. Brown. No fairy tale goal today, but I am looking forward to seeing her get on the score sheet in 2024. Well, there will be a Best on Ground award. We believe it was Mia Gear who won the Best on Ground in the first game for Wilston Grange. It's going to be a tough choice, but UQ, Maddie Crowley-Long hugging the support staff on the boundary. It's been a frustrating year at times for UQ, but they have beaten their bogey team, Coorparoo, on a big stage. This is only their 5th win in 25 matches against the Kings. It's been a team performance. I've picked out Lara Mason as my BOG, but you could probably pick about 12 of them. Around the back, Evans has a drive. Cut off on the line. Govan goes for a snap and just wasn't able to get the right limb. So she finishes the game without a goal, remains on 98, but she's got 2 games left this year to hit that century. But it's about the Red Lionesses today. A massive win that keeps the finals race open in the 2024 Bond University QAFLW. UQ 4-6-30 have defeated Coorparoo 1-8-14. The goal scorers for Coorparoo, first of all, Arla Federhagic in the 4th quarter. For the University of Queensland, Gabby Simpson scored 2 in the 1st and 3rd quarters, Lucy McCormick and Bridie Condren. Sky Burgess, some final thoughts on what ended up being maybe not an open encounter, but an enthralling one.
Yeah, Coorparoo did not seem themselves today, and credit to UQ, they played extremely well. They had great run and were at 100% all game. Like, they didn't really take their foot off the gas at all. So Coorparoo really just struggled to find that in, and unfortunately it wasn't their day today.
We'll let you get sending a text message to the to the Best on Ground nominees. But from South Pine Sporting Complex here in Brendale, we are halfway through an absolute cracker day in the Bond University QAFLW. This is Jarrah Corporate Pride Round. University of Queensland have defeated Coorparoo by 16 points. This broadcast will end in a moment. Please join us for the match between Aspley and Bond University beginning at 2. But from now, from this broadcast, it's goodbye.